Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the latest in the round of Industry Leader Live interviews. I'm delighted today to have Rebecca Hollants van Loocke, who is the Chief Operating Officer EMEA for Frasers Hospitality and has been with the company since September 2017. Goodness, doesn't seem that long. Prior to this role, Rebecca spent over 10 years at the ASCII Limited as Country General Manager for UK, Germany, Georgia, and Vice President Operations for the UK, and has also held roles with Corpnex and Hyatt Regency Hotels. An experienced COO with a demonstrable history in the hospitality industry, Rebecca is skilled in managing diverse teams across different regions and countries. Rebecca, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, James. I'm not sure I recognise that person you were talking about, but it was very nice. Thank you.
We all do. We all do. So let's start by just asking you about service departments. I think you've been in the industry 13 or 14 years within service departments.
Correct.
What are your thoughts on service departments as we are hopefully entering this, exiting, I should say, this pandemic period? So in this socially distanced world, what are your thoughts about service departments?
I think we all know some of the USPs, but I think particularly during this time, what has been really prevalent is just that ability to have that extra living space, your own kitchen facilities, somewhere that you can slightly self-distance yourself from others, but have your own world, create your own bubble, if I can call it that, one of the new words that we're learning about. There's no need to go into busy communal areas or queue at restaurants or have all the other interactions that you might have in a hotel. I think there's also that opportunity in the sense of enhanced sanitisation. We've got washing machines. There's an ability for you, if you are very particular, that you can again clean on top of that world. It's your own space whilst you are away. And add in your own standards of cleaning if you like, especially if you're staying for a longer period of time. There's generally less contact with cleaning staff than there is in a traditional hotel as well. Also the fact that you've got a dining space, you've got tables and chairs, you can be there as a business guest and still work in that environment and still have that space around you, and not have to work or work in co-working environments, if you like. It can double up for both of those. I think one important point is service departments offer the perfect blend between traditional hotels and Airbnb. It's perhaps particularly important to note that the latter, obviously with varying hosts and completely different environments every time, perhaps don't have an element of a certain standard. There's a degree of uncertainty within that environment that is probably challenging to people, particularly today. Also a huge plus and something that hopefully people will be seeing about Frasers very soon. We've made a video of actually what we're doing in our environment, is that ability to have friends and family and to reconnect, particularly post-lockdown. We've all been separated from people, and it is a wonderful environment to actually keep within your own bubble, if I can put it that way, and retain your peace of mind. So I think that is a huge plus, particularly now.
And what about Frasers' specific measures that they've taken over the course of the last few months and looking ahead to try and build that confidence for the traveller? What have Frasers done to try and do that?
Yeah, it's a difficult time, and I think it's a very valid question, because I think we're all a little bit nervous of climbing out of our own little cocoon now. So Frasers, through our Frasers Cares initiative, we've implemented various measures in preparation for reopening, and definitely to align with various different government guidelines, bearing in mind that we operate in very many different countries. That has in itself been quite challenging. One thing that we do recognise is very important is that added flexibility. I guess there aren't that many airplanes in the sky, your ability to arrive and depart. So we've brought in a big degree of flexibility in cancellations and postponements of bookings that people have already made. We've reorganised all our public areas. We've marked out safe distancing measures to ensure that social distance is maintained. We've invested a huge amount in PPE. Staff training has been particularly at the uppermost of our minds, making people aware, just reinforcing that message gently over time. And we've installed sanitisation stations throughout all of our properties with complimentary disposable gloves and masks should guests need or require them. We've introduced additional cleaning measures. I'm sure many people have, very particularly in communal areas and key touch points. We have a regular cleaning and schedule, which is closely monitored, that is done every half an hour. And all our EMEA properties have been awarded with the ISAAP Compliance Accreditation, which I think is a wonderful stamp to have behind us, which helps us maintain those high levels of sanitisation and safety for the whole building and the teams and our guests. One thing we've introduced very recently is a new cleaning program called Tesano Lotus Pro. It's a cleaning system for all our guest rooms and public areas. Very innovative. It actually is a mixture of ozone and water. So the ozone becomes stabilised within the water, and it's called stabilised aqueous ozone. It offers a very simple, clean, sanitising and safe environment. In fact, it kills up to 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, and it also removes hazardous cleaning chemicals. It's a very nice big stamp for us as a business as well, because it is very green and it is very safe to use, and it really does help the rooms sparkle on top of it. When we clean our rooms, we do actually air them. We've tried to maintain 24 hours between occupancy in the rooms. So we air them first and then we sanitize them with our new cleaning methods. And we actually, what we call seal them, but actually we're putting a door hanger on the door to say that this room has now been sanitized and cleaned for the next guest. So immediately on arrival, you feel like you're going into a very safe and secure environment. We try to minimize social interaction. We've decided to limit our cleaning within the apartments. For stays of 7 nights plus, we clean the apartments absolutely fully once a week and sanitize them again. For those guests that are staying less than 7 nights, we supply any additional amenities, linens, towels to the door of the apartment. Again, in an effort to increase that privacy for that guest, but also to minimize that interaction. Our breakfast service has changed. We also are enabling our guests to pre-order breakfast in advance so that they can cook it in the comfort of their kitchenette. Or alternatively, we make breakfast on the property with our chefs and actually serve it within our restaurants. Again, looking at seating arrangements, ensuring that social distancing is in place. So lots and lots of different things. And one other area that we know people are very keen on, I think we've all tried to stay fit and healthy throughout this lockdown time, is we're looking at slowly but surely reopening some of our gym facilities with a pre-booking slot. The gyms are sanitized between every single guest, and if the guest really wants to use a gym, those slots are available for them to book in advance. So I think there's sort of multiple elements there. So we've put a lot of time and effort into it. The accreditation has really helped us put that stamp on the front door as well, which is, I think, a very powerful message to the customer.
And that's really useful, isn't it? I think the customer, we're hearing quite a bit, the customer is, in utopia terms, is the business traveller. But of course, seeing where we are, where we're coming from, where we're going, opportunities to identify new customers and implementing and introducing the service department product to new customers is something I think is really valuable for all of us. So, I mean, we've talked about staycations. a lot. What is your thought about potential opportunity with the rise of the staycation opportunity, and also those who are traveling closer to home now? Are you seeing a shift change?
I think you're right. I mean, it's one of those buzzwords, if we can call it that. But I think most certainly both the UK and the European tourism industries have really been especially hard hit since the start of the pandemic. And I think as public confidence continues to waver and talks of a potential second wave of the virus are there and are potential, people are still frustrated and do still want to get out and do things. And I think it is likely that people will steer clear of those long haul destinations to the sun and spending 12 hours on an airplane. I'm certainly one of those that won't be doing that, I don't think, for a while. I very much hope that confidence does continue to steadily build. We have seen some green shoots and some good positivity, particularly in some of our European properties and more regional properties here within the UK. But I think as lockdown and travel restrictions lift, and as we go through the summer into the autumn months, I do hope that that confidence will continue to build. I think our service departments offer breaks absolutely in destinations that you can reach without too much trouble, be it London, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Hamburg, Berlin, Paris. In fact, it's actually quite nice to see some of these bigger cities with less people around. They're close enough to home to give you that ability to reach them without too much trouble. And obviously with a full spacious apartment at the other end, you can recreate your bubble on arrival, which I think is great. They're places that are full of culture and experience, and it's a chance, I think, for people to get away, and I hope we begin to see a little bit more about that. I think the other point that the government has added in, which is the recent cut on VAT, obviously here in the UK from 20 to 5% to help stimulate domestic demand, will increase very much the desire to get moving. We've seen that in some of the European countries too. But the one thing I think that really has been lovely actually throughout this time, it's been humbling to see how the industry has come together. I think both in the UK and across the globe, the way that the companies have tried to reinvent their offerings to get through this time is really heartwarming. And I hope people take that opportunity to explore places a little closer to home than they have perhaps previously considered. I am absolutely certain that we've all got to know our immediate local community throughout this lockdown period better than we had ever before. And maybe we can just widen that a little bit and take in other parts of the country and bring back some life to them. And I think with all those things coupled together, I think we do offer a very good and safe environment for people to travel to. And I hope they begin to build their confidence towards that.
You touched a few minutes ago on accreditation.
Yes.
And the importance that that we place on accreditation. You've been incredibly supportive of ISAAP and the work that we've been doing over the years. So with regards to accreditation, I think one of the biggest challenges we've got is getting it understood externally, and having the buyer really understand what it's all about, whoever that buyer happens to be, those users of service departments. How do you think we can collectively work together to best position the true value of accreditation as a differentiator in the industry, and how do you think, as an industry, we can get that over the line?
Well, as the first hospitality brand to be awarded ISAAP compliance accreditation across the 12 countries that we operate in the EMEA region, we certainly understand, I think, the importance of such recognition and the rigorous standards that it makes us keep and maintain. I think expectations have been permanently changed as a result of COVID, and the standards that people are expecting now in part of their guest experience and our duty of care and COVID-19 proof sanitisation standards and security are now having to be more stringent than ever. Raising awareness of the accreditation, such as ISAAP, I think is vital to help rebuild that confidence that we were talking about before, not only in the sector, but generally, and assure guests and travel buyers in particular that they are in safe hands when they put their guests, their staff, their customers, so to speak, in our hands. I think it will also reinforce the fact that the guest experience is guaranteed to be streamlined and consistent across all accredited properties, and that sense of security is prevalent throughout everywhere that accreditation exists. I also think continuing to recognise and reward more brands and hospitality businesses with accreditation will help build that awareness, both through industry channels and on external channels of each brand accredited. We certainly share that ISAAP accreditation not only with our individual buyers and customers, we have it highlighted within our individual properties, and also very much there is that awareness on our brand website and elsewhere to actually demonstrate to our end users the lengths that we have gone to try and build their confidence and show that that has been independently assessed and certified. So I think it's a hugely positive move and something people will be looking for.
And thank you again for all of your support with that. I mean, it's really
our pleasure. It's been a learning process. It's been a very good process, I think, for all of us to go through. So it was really good.
There's value in it. That's really good. So finally, then, I mean, if you had this crystal ball, I put this to everyone we're speaking to over the last few months. How do you think the industry that we represent, that we work in, that we love so much, can best position itself to recover quickly from the experiences we've had over the last few months?
I think hospitality generally is going to face a tough time, and I think we've talked a little bit about that confidence part, but I think operators and owners should very much collectively continue to reinforce and deliver the benefits that a service department stay to the consumer has over that hotel for the modern day traveller. I think there is still a degree of awareness that we need to bring to the market of what it can deliver, be it as a single independent traveller all the way through to a family. I think frequent communication via social media, newsletters, industry comments, media engagements can all help to slowly but surely raise the industry and its USPs and keep that in the very forefront of people's mind, and reach across sections of the business traveller, like we've been talking about, as I say, the business traveller through to families, to couples, to all walks of life. We also need to continue to focus on loyalty programs and, of course, guest retention, and making every stay exceptional and demonstrating while a customer is with us that experience in that environment really matters. And if they love that, they will return and they will be loyal, not only to us, hopefully, as an independent brand, but equally to the industry itself through the value of everything that the service department has. We can't wait to see people back. I think it's been a very difficult time, and I think we really do have that lovely balance of your own space whilst being away and seeing a new environment outside is really a win-win on all sides.
Well, you are a huge advocate for our industry. You make our job so much easier at ISAAP. Thank you.
Well, we hope so.
And you really are, thank you so much for your time this morning. I know how busy everyone is at the moment, but just having a few minutes to talk through some of the challenges we're facing is really valuable to everyone. So thank you, Rebecca, very much.
My pleasure, James. Always a pleasure to be part of ISAAP too. Thank you.
Thanks.